Hello family, hello brothers and sisters, how we doing? Birthday is coming up in a few days. There's a lot of hype. It's very exciting. And yes, I'm here. It's been a little while, but I think a prediction video was a must for UFC 280. I feel like there's not a lot of things that happened since UFC 279. It was kind of a dull few weeks. There was, I think, Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong. That was pretty cool, but other than that, it was pretty dull in the UFC world. So the card is stacked. It really is. If you're a true hardcore fan of the UFC and MMA in particular, you're gonna like a whole lot of fights on here. Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov is a tough one, but I saw this cool meme that was saying Bruce Buffer is gonna have his field day on UFC 280 with like pronouncing all of these names, bro. Look at all of these fucking names, bro. Muhammad Mokaev, Lena Landsberg. Okay, that's not too bad. Armen Petrosyan, Gadzi Omar Gadziev. Holy moly cannoli. That is a name. Zubaira. I don't even know how to say that. Zubaira Tukugov. But yeah, I think for predictions, I don't really go too deep, so I'm gonna focus on the main card, the 4 fights that are actually important. You know, no disrespect to the women fight, but I don't think we care that much, right? So I'm gonna start with Beneil Dariush and Mateusz Gamrot. Oopsies, hold up. So, Beneil Dariush versus Mateusz Gamrot. I'm going to be quick. I'm going to try to think about what I'm going to say because this is very important. Beneil Dariush is actually the underdog against Mateusz Gamrot, which is crazy. Gamrot is... there's no age in here? We should have the age. I think Mateusz is younger. But to be fair, I've never actually seen Mateusz fight in IRL. I don't even know the last time he fought. I don't even know who he's fought last. So it pisses me off because I hate predicting on stuff that I don't know about. I always lean towards the guy that I know, but that's not usually the right answer because we've known this since the beginning of time. The guys that you don't really know that are on the main card that are fighting good guys, they're there for a reason. So it's a tough one. Beneil, we know him. We've seen him fight. And he's vocal enough because obviously he had that fight booked against Islam, and it's a bummer that it didn't happen. Yeah, one pullout can really change the course of your career forever. So careful when you train, guys, I guess. But yeah, Beneil Dariush, I mean, he's good. He's great. The last time he fought was at UFC 266? No, 260. It was a long time ago. It was 270. No, bro. It was the night where Charles Oliveira defeated Michael Chandler, I believe. It was 262, right? It's been a while. It's been a little while that he's fought for some reason. And maybe it's just the injury. Yeah, 262, man. That's 18 pay-per-views ago. That's almost... No, that's a year. Yeah, that's a year and a half ago. A year and a half ago. So... a year and a half layoff. The last guy he fought was Tony Ferguson, who was already on a 2-3 fight losing streak. I don't know. It's like it's difficult to say, but if I had to bet my money, even though I don't know who Mateusz Gamrot is, I'd probably bet Mateusz Gamrot just because he's a new up and comer. And when you look at the history of the UFC, the history of MMA, the newer guys, the guys that are coming up, usually make a bigger splash and impact. The guys that you don't expect to win usually wins in situations like this. I've betted Derek Lewis against Sergey Pavlovich a few times, and what am I talking about? A few times. I mean, I've betted on that fight. Not betted, but I've predicted that Sergey Pavlovich was gonna win, even though I didn't know who Sergey Pavlovich was. I've never seen him fight, but it's like he's there for a reason. They're trying to make guys up to the top. Build some guys up to the top, and sometimes it's not necessarily the guy that you know that is going to win. And in this instance, if I had to bet, I would go Mateusz Gamrot by decision. And I think it's going to be a great fight. I see a couple knockdowns and stuff like that, but I'm leaning towards Mateusz Gamrot for the victory. All right, let's go on to the next ones. Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. This is probably the main event. No, I'm kidding. Nah. Come on. Oliveira Makhachev is cool as hell, but this one is just unpredictable. And I've made a piece on Sean O'Malley recently. It's my recent video. There's going to be a new video coming out in a few hours from where I'm talking about TJ Dillashaw. But for now, my last video is about Sean O'Malley, and I've talked about this, how it's kind of weird that this fight is happening, but it makes sense and we're all excited for it. Or I guess it doesn't really make sense, but we're just excited for it, and sometimes it's like, fuck it. You know what I mean? It seems like the UFC is really trying to, promote Sean O'Malley. They're trying to build him up, and they're giving him favorable fights all the way through. And I've seen a lot of comments in my last video talking about, well, all the bantamweights were booked, because I said Sean O'Malley is ranked number 12, and he passed up 11 top contenders to fight Petr Yan, a favorable matchup for him. And people were like, well, 11 bantamweights, they were all booked, and they were all this, and they were all that. Reality is people can wait, people can book before. When guys were booked, Petr Yan and Sean O'Malley were booked around the same time as well. So it's like a number 12 guy passing up 11 top contenders, whether all of these guys are booked up or not, rarely happens in the UFC and any other divisions. And I don't think you can name me any other guys that have done that, had the opportunity to do that. So, of course, Sean O'Malley has that Dana White privilege, which is, look, hey, shout out to you. You know what I mean? You're flashy, you're nice, you're exciting. People like you. Dana White likes you. Take that privilege and take that opportunity and go forward. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it is kind of an surreal matchup that it's actually happening. But it's so goddamn exciting because it's two strikers, two guys that come to fight, come to bang. And it's two styles that are similar, but because of their physical attributes, it's going to be a chess match, right? It's one long, tall, lengthy guy against a shorter, smaller, boxer type of guy. And what I've known from the time that I've trained mixed martial arts or trained Muay Thai is that keeping distance is actually more difficult than people think it is. Because I'm a long guy too as well. When I spar with guys that are my weight, I usually spar shorter guys because I'm pretty skinny for my height, right? And when I spar guys that are around my weight, guys are usually a lot smaller. So I try to keep them at bay, but it's not easy to spar that way. It's not easy to fight that way the whole way around because you're always on the back foot, right? You're not dictating the pace. You're not dictating the fights, the pressure. You're the one getting pressured the whole fight. So basically, what I'm saying is sometimes it can be difficult, but Sean O'Malley has shown over all of his last fights, over all of his career, that he's good at doing that. He's good at keeping distance, keeping bay, feinting well, and just fighting at that perfect distance where he cannot get strike and he can strike backs if he wants. But Petr Yan on the other side is funny because he's fought guys like Corey Sandhagen, who is a lot taller, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm picking Petr Yan in this fight, because you've seen Petr Yan with a guy like Corey Sandhagen, who's just as tall as Sean O'Malley, and Petr did well. Petr did amazing. It took him a few minutes, a few rounds at the beginning to adjust, but once he was able to counter parry and get adjusted to Corey Sandhagen's fighting style, which I think Sean O'Malley will be even easier to adjust to, because in my opinion, Corey Sandhagen has a lot more tools than Sean O'Malley, even on the feet. That's just my opinion. But I do think Petr Yan will be able to be. He will find his timing. He will find his pressure. He will find his shots early on. And I'm not saying, like I said, a lot of people have said that, and I think I completely agree with that. The first 60 to 90 seconds will be Sean O'Malley peppering Petr Yan with a jab, and you'll see that. Petr Yan trying to come forward, he'll get popped with a shot. But I don't think it's going to last the whole first round. I don't think Petr Yan will lose one round. I think he'll lose the first 90 seconds of the first round. But as Petr Yan gets more into the fight, he'll be able to slip, counter, walk forward, body shots, leg kick. I do think when Petr will find his timing and range, the striking exchanges will be on Petr Yan's favor, and that's just my opinion, right? But like I said, it's MMA, guys. We don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. My prediction is Peter Yan by late TKO or by decisions. But I'm going to go late TKO, right? I'm going to go second or... oh, shit. Usually I don't even pick that because that's more difficult to pick. But I'll go third round TKO. Peter Yan, third round TKO. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw. It's funny because I made a video about these two when the fight was announced. And I've never posted it on TFB Stocks because, I don't know, I don't think it was... maybe I don't think it was a cool video enough. But the title was going to be something like the fight that nobody cares about. It's funny because the press conference was this morning. And they got booed, both of them. Like, TJ got booed and Aljamain got booed. People don't really like both of them. It's a fight that is not like, how do I say this? It's not super exciting. So they placed it at the perfect time in between two fights that are super exciting, right? Peter Yan, Sean O'Malley, Charles Oliveira, Makhachev are super exciting fights, and you know they're going to deliver, right? And Aljamain Sterling and TJ Dillashaw, it's two big names. It's the champion and the former champion and possibly one of the bantamweight GOATs. So it's still like, it looks on paper pretty nice, but I don't think it's going to turn out like as a barn burner or anything like that. But yeah, it's difficult to pick. It's difficult to pick. I think it's two guys that deep down inside knows that they're not the best in the division. It's weird that I say this. I know it's not really what I would look forward to, but I think Petr Yan beats both guys in a trilogy fight with Aljamain, and Petr Yan beats TJ Dillashaw in my opinion. I think even Chito Vera beats TJ Dillashaw. I think Corey Sandhagen beats TJ Dillashaw. I'm just saying, right? I know he lost by a split decision or whatever, but today I think it would be even clearer. So there's a lot of other bantamweights that, in my opinion, would just be better, right? But those are the guys that have come out of their fights. You know, Aljamain Sterling beat Corey Sandhagen. He beat on paper Petr Yan, and TJ beat Corey Sandhagen too. So I guess we're here, and this is the fight that it is. It's just meh. It's just meh. But if I had to pick, I would probably go TJ. Right? I would probably go TJ just because I don't see Aljamain being able to take down TJ at will. Obviously, he was able to take down Petr Yan. I want to say his name right. Petr Yan. He was able to take him down in the first two rounds or first three rounds. I guess he took him down at the end of the second, but he was able to get up. At the end of the first. And Petr was able to get up. And then in the second and third, he kind of just stayed there, right? He laid on him the whole round. But if you look at the stats of Sterling and Yan's second fight, I think he was 2 or 3 out of 25 attempts, right? And takedowns, I guess you just need 1, right, to succeed. But I don't know if TJ Dillashaw will give his back the way Petr gave the back. I don't know if TJ Dillashaw will be like as ferocious in the first few minutes, because Petr Yan in the second fight against Sterling was super... he was aggressive, and that's what I think led to the mistakes of him getting taken down, because you see him in the first, second, third round, he was really trying to land some huge blows instead of just pick him apart from distance, which Petr Yan does so well. And I don't know if TJ will be as aggressive, as ferocious in the first few minutes, which could lead to potential takedowns for Sterling. I think TJ will be a lot more cautious in the first few minutes of the fight, and he'll be able to pick him apart on the feet, throw some good kicks. So I'll say TJ Dillashaw by decision, right? If I had to pick, I'll pick TJ Dillashaw. I pick these decision TKO. I've never done this, but I'm just going to say decision. Don't count me on that, right? I picked TJ Dillashaw to win this, even though it's not really the guy that I like. It's not really the guy that I want to win. That's the thing here, right? We all want different guys to win. If I wanted to, I'd probably pick Aljamain to win just because I think Petr and him has unfinished business and stuff, and I don't know. I just don't really like TJ with the whole suspension and EPO thing, but it is what it is. If I had to pick, I'll go TJ Dillashaw by decision. Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, man, that is a beauty of a fight, man. I could talk about this for days, but I don't want to because it's boring sometimes, right? You don't want to listen to me talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. But this is incredibly difficult to pick because I'm going to say it right now. I want Charles to win. I think the overall general public truly wants Charles Oliveira to get his belt back. You see it in the picture. He holds the belt. He's the true uncrowned champion, and I think people really got attached to his story and his recent fights, and people love him, all right? And I'm included in that. I truly, truly love the guy. I think he's a beast, and he's proving everybody's wrong, which is kind of like something that we all want to do, right? We want to prove people wrong, and not only is he proving one person wrong, he's proving the whole community wrong, because we were all wrong on Charles Oliveira at the beginning of his title run. And over the course of his last 3 or 4 fights, he was able to like make us super fans of his. It's crazy because I'll talk for myself. When he fought Tony Ferguson, I truly wanted Tony to beat him up, right? I remember that fight. I wanted Tony to beat him up because I just didn't know who Charles was. But then as Charles grew up, grew on us. He was able to tell his story, his journey, which is relatable, which is motivational for a lot of us. So that's why we were able to like stick to this guy, right? And Islam on the other side is kind of like, obviously he's a phenomenal fighter, but he kind of is in the shadow of Khabib and will always be, for unfortunately, right? Whether he likes it or not. So it's always difficult to like a guy that is coming off of somebody else's. But that's not the point. That's not the discussion we're having. Is who is going to win the fight. And this is incredibly difficult. I'm thinking as I'm talking, and I don't have an answer to give you right now. I really don't. I hope I will in a few seconds, because I really want to be careful with what I say, not just say it because I'm a biased motherfucker. You know what I mean? So, man, this fight is probably going to be dictated in the first minute. In my opinion, I think a lot of fights are dictated in the first few minutes. The better guy dictates the pressure, dictates the pace, and puts the fight where he wants to. And if Islam Makhachev shoots for a takedown and Charles is able to defend well, or threatens with his jiu-jitsu, or show something that every other Makhachev's opponents weren't able to show, I think this is where Makhachev's doubts come to mind. Because Makhachev hasn't fought guys in the top 5, top 10 yet, right? I think he has 2 ranked wins, Dan Hooker and Drew Dober, I think, or Thiago Moses. One of other guys. I think it's Dan Hooker and another guy that was ranked. I don't know who he was yet, but I don't remember exactly. But it's still a newbie brain to this type of pressure. I don't think Islam has ever headlined a pay-per-view like this. I don't think he's had this much pressure on his shoulder like this. Charles has been there, right? Has been there for a few years now. The pressure, I guess he got used to it. He's better even under pressure. And I think during the fight, I think if Islam meets a little bit of resistance, it could break him. It could really break him, in my opinion. Even though I know the guys from Dagestan hadn't shown that. They hadn't shown guys being able to break or giving up or anything like that. You're not going to find them. It's very difficult. But this is a different kind of pressure for Islam. Put yourself in his shoes for a second, right? He got his whole team, got Khabib looking out for him. He got his late, I guess, coach and father of Khabib, who was hailing him as the next future undisputed champion of the lightweight division. And now he's here against a guy who's on paper like one of the pound for pound best fighter in the world, right? And as Islam Makhachev, it's like you can't really say if he's that great because he hasn't fought the who's who that Charles beat. And even though he made all the other guys look pretty ordinary, it's difficult for me to say, or off of what we've seen, it's difficult for me to say Islam can just bully his way through Charles Oliveira. But we've seen crazier things happen. I just think Islam Makhachev will meet resistance for the first time. And I don't think he will be able to deal with it the right way. I really don't. He's rarely ever, if ever, went 5 rounds. That gas tank hasn't been tested the way Charles' gas tank has been tested. His will hasn't been tested the way Charles Oliveira will has been tested. I do think there will be moments in the fight where it's who wants it more. And I do truly believe that Charles Oliveira wants it more. I do have to be honest, because Islam is a dangerous machine, but off of everything that I've explained, I think Charles got the experience. I think he's going to be a bit calmer under pressure, which leads to, a better gas tank, especially over 5 rounds. So I'll go Charles Oliveira. I'll go Charles Oliveira by KO or TKO in the earlier rounds, maybe second or third round. I think Islam will try to shoot badly for takedowns, and then once he realized it's a little bit more difficult than he anticipated, it's going to be Charles picking him apart on the feet. That's my opinion. That's what I think. It's a bold one. To be honest, I think the safe bet would go with Islam Makhachev, just because, Chael Sonnen said it best. It's like a specialist is always better than a guy who's more well-rounded, right? Because if Islam puts Charles in the situation, in the position that he wants, it might be game over. It might be game over. You might see the fight playing out in the first 90 seconds. Islam plays him and then just grabs his leg, put him down, and Charles just cannot do it. And can't find the perfect submission, because, like I said, it has to be perfect for Islam to be, lazy and give up a submission. As black belt as you want to be, if it's another guy that knows how to defend submission well, it's going to be very difficult. So, like I said, I'm on both sides here, but I'll go Charles Oliveira by TKO because of experience, heart, which a lot of things, in the past, heart has been his bane, right? Now I think heart will be the factor in this fight, and he'll show it once again, regain the belt, and it'll be a great moment. But for Islam as well, like I said, he's still young, so we'll see what happens. But I do think experience and confidence grows when you're fighting these top 5, top 3 guys, so that when you get to the title, you're like, I deserve to be here, right? There's always that little part in your head, look, I just fought Bobby Green, a guy who's outside the rankings, right? Who's, a striker, basically just a striker. I'm not saying Bobby Green is not good or anything, but it's a big difference between Bobby Green and Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje and Michael Chandler. Those are Tony Ferguson. Those are the completely different levels. So, all right, I'll end on that. Let me know what your deepest prediction are down below. I think this was a cool video. There's a lot to talk about. Goddamn, I talked for 30 minutes, which is way too long. But I hope y'all enjoy y'all gonna enjoy the night of fighting. I'll be out. I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow, or the day after, and tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, I'll be leaving. I have a cruise to take from the 24th to the 28th, and we're going on road trip from all the way from Canada to Montreal, Canada to Orlando. So it's gonna be a big road trip, and I'm probably gonna stop in somewhere in New York or Washington to watch the fights in a cool bar, something like that. So it'll be pretty fun. I hope y'all enjoyed the night of fighting. Enjoy it, because goddamn, these types of pay-per-views don't come always, right? And it's big. So let's have some fun. And I'll catch you on the next one if I do decide to record other videos. Peace out, man.